about this conversation because Becky has been a part of my life, whether she realizes it or not, for probably a decade now, and or longer. I don't know, but she's known my mom for a very long time, and I'm just so excited to have her. But before we start, I am Dr. Kelly Guidry. I have my doctorate in counseling and counselor education, and I am a part of Readiness Group, who is a company that builds resilient cultures in high stress environments. So lots of military and first responders, educators, which I know is one of Becky's passions, and then hospitals and the medical world. So it's kind of where we lie. And I'll let Erica introduce herself.
Yeah, I'm Erica. I have my doctorate in physical therapy and history in the military. I'm an Air Force veteran. My husband is an Air Force pilot. And super excited about this conversation today. We did training last week in Grapevine, and just the concept of the holidays and people struggling and trying to make meaningful moments out of sometimes chaotic situations and life, and trying to get everything together. And then, of course, everything that comes up with the holidays. And so I'm excited about this conversation, and we're 3 days out now from Christmas. And I think it's a good time for people to slow down and kind of take stock and try to make, meaningful, mindful, intentional memories out of the time that they have with those they love. So I'm super excited, Becky, that you're here to talk to us about this with your unique perspective. So do you mind introducing yourself?
Oh, I'm excited. Thank you so much. I live in East, moved from Houston last year for over 30 years, and always loved photographs because I have stories that they hold. And as of the work I do with children, how all the things you do kind of, because got really seriously in 2015. So those two together and have really helped do with photography, which is fine arts. Really, with children centers around. I prefer teaching, shooting photographs and kids. They're mostly grown. There's one, my baby Whiskey. He's kind of where we are, and one granddaughter. So that's kind of where we are.
I love that. I love that. And Cal, I don't know if it's just me, I'm getting some audio feedback. Are you catching the communication?
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of audio feedback too. How about you, Becky? I just want to check in and make sure.
Side.
You're good on your side? Okay. So Becky, we're talking here about kind of that idea of, because Becky, I want to give her the background. She's a photographer, and I'm going to drop her links in the Instagram because I get chills just thinking of them. And I have one I'm looking at here, up on my right, of my daughter with snow. And then I have two, so they stay out all year long, and they're Christmas photos. And they just tell a story. Her pictures and her photographs just tell a story. And I don't know how else to say it other than that. And so she's a photographer by trade and an educator by trade. I don't want to lose sight of that. But I want to just talk a little bit about capturing the moment, telling the story in a photograph and what that means to you, because I think that's our whole training and everything we do is all about storytelling. And so what does that mean from the lens of a photographer and educator all the way around?
Well, I really have to travel back a little bit, even to my growing up. So I grew up very, it's interesting because growing up, I always had an imagination things, and we most grew up in the country. And it's in pictures of myself, or I just noticed that in the find myself in, that I was never I was like, what's happened, right? And I know, and the things that we have gone through, and there was, I mean, that whole thing is, but I've always treasured child, that what I love, education, which there's about, one of those is I'm really about preserving childhood. Kids grow up too fast. Why are we trying to grown-ups? So for me, I want batteries, and that they don't have beeps, and they don't sticks. The whole, there's something so organic about developing, and I think it comes from that. And so I've always loved photographs, and love literature, love history. So all those kind of come together for me. Create photographs that are children engaged, that has very old school meaning, just kind of old world. Photographers, you know, and think, oh, I want to sit down and pose my thing. Do those photographs, but that's not really my favorite. I just want people to play. I just want, and forget that I'm even there in my studio, to think it came to play. So the way that starts for me is personal lives. I don't think for me to photograph when I'm really, and you know, what's something that's about, I'll tell a little story, and it's great because every Christmas ago, because they the dad was with me for football, and his wife was about 2 weeks maybe before Christmas, and his wife had called me and said that she wanted to give him a gift, the work that I did for family portrait, about their son who had cancer, and he was or 15, and so I'm just like, oh my gosh, I was really trying to get family pictures in because chemo treatments right after Christmas. It was probably a week before Christmas. I said, well, then we need to do them now. What day do you have? And the only day she had was, because for me, it was so important to tell a story, to capture.
I love that.
Their lives, you know. So I started chatting with them. How do y'all spend your time? For us to really examine as people. We spend our time together. We're so busy right now. They loves to play poker, and they all clean up and steam pumps. And then the son who was the big tuba. I said, bring all of it. Just bring all. Instagram feed would go down. And to me, dressed, I've got the dad and the older son, the younger son playing tuba that I captured is he's playing and his eyes are closed. And that's, and it really signifies this moment, that family having to go through this by himself.
Yeah.
Like the treatment, he has the part of that only he can. And so for me, it's like to capture something like that, and we'll always have that story is, you know, so that's kind of for people. And what is there, my own sort of like capture something that will be, and to not lose sight of simplicity. You know, kids playing with blocks. I feel like we're trying to rush grown up instead of just let them be. You know, so for me, in the video, I want kids to natural, and I want just because I think when we try, you don't get coming back to what you said earlier, slowing down and, you know, to matters. Sometimes we have a vision of what we think Christmas is an idea, and we try to force instead of just say, you know what, the Christmas lights are not working.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're 2 days not working, and I spent hours trying to get them to laugh, right? So I guess, but I am, you learn instead of letting those, okay, that's a Norman Rockwell memory, right?
Yeah.
To, I think, slow down. I've learned a whole lot about gratitude this year because the hurricane, my father-in-law lived and is now living with us. My husband had a heart, and 3 weeks later, my horse was almost mortally injured. I have learned gratitude, and I'm into this holiday season, gratefulness and gratitude, and you know, it's a huge.
I don't know if it's just my computer, but I want to hear your stories, and I'm catching like every other word. So what I want to do, if you're okay with it, is I want to stop the live and I want to jump on Zoom and record it. Are you okay with that?
I'm totally fine with that.
All right, I'm going to send you a link. Okay.